everyone and welcome in this first video in English in this English channel. Well, technically it's not exactly my first video in English because on my French channel I've already made an interview of Sonia Choquette, you can check it out if you want to, and also a guided meditation for the morning, which was in English as well. So this is the first real video that I'm gonna do in English, and I've been wanting to do that for a very long time actually, but I was always postponing it and saying I didn't have the time. So today I do, because we're in quarantine and this lockdown has been giving us a lot of free time to actually work on some projects that we were pushing away for quite some time. So before we begin with this video and the topic of today, which is 5 tips to connect with your intuition, I'm just going to introduce myself for those who don't know me. So my name is Jenna Blossoms. I'm a French spiritual teacher, also an author of 2 books for the moment. One is about life purpose, life mission, and is already published, and the other one is about vibration and manifesting, and this one is just getting published in a few days or weeks in France. I also am a speaker, I do online workshops, I do meditations, and I share some channeled messages that I can have. Spirituality has been in my life for a very long time, and I have been called to embrace that and just to put it at the center of my life a few years ago now. And just so you know, I do not come from a very intuitive background to begin with. Not everyone in my family is super intuitive, and I was always categorizing myself as someone who was very intellectual. I studied a lot. I was in communication and political science, and I was in one of the best French universities, and I was always known as the girl who is all about knowledge. I used to love reading and thinking, and I still do actually, but now it's different because now I use my intuition and I have a different way of functioning, if you can say that. So today I want to share with you 5 very simple yet very effective tips that I have to connect with your intuition that I personally use and that I'm also sharing and teaching and that work very well. And sometimes these are good reminders that you may already know, but hearing them again or just hearing them in a new perspective can change a lot of things. So the first tip that I want to share with you today is to trust yourself. Many times I hear people telling me that they don't have intuition and they don't know if it's their mind talking or if it's their intuition really. And sometimes what I gather when I talk to these people is that they think that intuition is going to be a big sign in front of them, or a vision, or someone whispering a super clear message in their head. And what I want to say and what I want to share today is that usually it's not. Intuition is a very subtle and delicate voice inside of you, and sometimes it's just a feeling, not even a voice, it's just a very peaceful and subtle feeling inside of you that's pushing you to go somewhere, or trying to tell you something, or making you realize things that you don't want to admit to yourself, or just giving you some guidance, but very subtly. And usually you have to trust before receiving the message. You have to trust what's coming. You have to trust what you're hearing, what you're feeling, what you're gathering from a situation, or sometimes you have a feeling about someone, and there is nothing really that can corroborate this feeling. It's like you get an intuition about someone or a situation or your day or whatever the subject may be. You have that intuition, and if you are always waiting for some proof, waiting for an external sign to validate your intuition, it's just not gonna develop. It's just gonna stay at that point where you're doubting it all the time, and it won't work. So you have to first trust yourself and be willing to take a risk, take a chance at trusting what that feeling may be. And whenever you can do that, then it will start to grow, then it will start to be clearer, then it will start to come more easily and more frequently as well. So the second tip that I want to share with you is have fun. So I'm sure you think this is not a very practical tip and maybe it's not what you were expecting, but oftentimes intuition and guidance and messages come when we are not expecting it, and also when we are not all stuck in our minds, and when there's a little bit of quietness, and when we are having fun experiencing intuition, trying and trusting, and when we are at a higher vibration as well, messages can come clearer and faster and more often. And remember, messages, when I say that, it's not always a sentence or like a letter that is being written to you from your guides, It can just be a feeling, an idea, an inspiration of something. This is intuition. This is just the flow of life, the guidance, the energy that you're always receiving. And sometimes it goes in a certain direction, or it can come in a certain feeling, This is intuition, and you have a lot of them when you're just having fun in life, nourishing your soul, and doing things that you love doing. Third tip, create silence within you. So this is a hard one, and this is also one that we've seen all over, like meditate and be quiet and practice mindfulness. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but if you do that, it will come easily. Intuition is going to be very easier. So I would just suggest that you practice a few minutes a day, a quiet, peaceful meditation. You can use music if you want to, but just the goal of it is just to practice vacuity, to practice emptiness within you, to quiet your mind and just be at ease with the fact that you're just here to receive, and you're not here to think. You're not here to analyze, to create with your mind, to be productive, to think about either the future or the past or a situation that is bothering you at the time. You're just here to quiet, to practice this emptiness and this silence within you. And you can do that also during the day, it's not always during meditation. You can practice that when you're washing the dishes, when you're brushing your teeth, or whatever you want to do, is just practice that mindfulness, yes, but also quietness within your head. And when you do that, the more you do that, the easier it will be for you to receive intuition, because you will have the space in you to receive it. You will be in an energy that you are not expecting, and you're not trying to solve everything in your mind. You're just in a state of releasing and quietness, and that helps you a lot to receive any intuition or guidance that can be sent to you. Fourth tip is ask and surrender. So when you have a question, when you have something that is bothering you, when you are struggling with anything in your life, the first thing to do is just to ask for help, to ask for intuition. Ask directly to your guide or your guardian angel or the universe in general. You know that your prayer or your question will be answered. And we go back to the first one, which was trust yourself, but also have faith, have faith in you, in the fact that you will receive the answer, and also that you are surrendering that blockage, that thing that is bothering you, or that situation that you are living. You're just surrendering it to the universe. You're not carrying it on your shoulders. You actually have faith in the fact that you are guided and helped all the time. So whenever I personally have something in my mind that's turning and creating in my head a train of thought, or I feel like I'm thinking too much and that I'm bothered or worried about anything, I just surrender it to the universe. I'm just letting it go, and I trust that the answer will come to me, or the situation will resolve itself just naturally. Eventually it'll come. Eventually things will change. So this tip is all about a state of energy that you should try to create within you. It's knowing that you don't have to carry everything on your shoulders. And this is the practice really, because it's so easy getting all stuck up in our heads whenever something show up, and we want to change it, we want to solve it, we want to get rid of it, because our ego is generally, how can I say that, kind of proud of himself, or he thinks a little bit too much of himself, and he thinks that if he thinks enough, if he analyzes enough, if you are worried enough, you might solve the problem. Well, I'm sorry to tell you that, but has it ever worked for you? Because it hasn't for me, and I would be really interested in hearing your story, because usually the ego is just trying to solve the problem on whatever it can see or gather as informations, but on a very fifth sensory way, in a very down-to-earth way. When our soul connected with our intuition to the universe and to all the information that's available out there for us, is just going to receive the right guidance and the right move to do or to not do, and the right message. And when we listen to that and when we are willing to try it, well, it's changing everything. When we are willing to stop working and functioning from our ego and start functioning from our soul, everything changes. And the way we handle the situations or not handle them, and the inner work that we can do, and we're not ego responding, we're soul responding. And this is a completely different situation. And last but not least, the fifth tip that I want to share with you today to connect with your intuition is practice, of course, because intuition is like a muscle, So it's not just like that in one day that you will become the most intuitive person ever and that you will be able to hear everything and receive the guidance just immediately, If you have been disconnected from your intuition for a long time, if you have been functioning with your mind as a boss for a very long time, then you will have to need a little bit of practice to change that and to readapt yourself, to work in a different way, to function in a different way, to quiet the mind when it needs to be silenced, or just to work, every day with some little exercises. Something I really like to do is practice intuition with what I call mini decisions. So many times in the day you have mini decisions to make. Will I bring that umbrella to work? How will I dress today? What will I eat for lunch? Or what will I do in my free time? Who should I call today? How can I handle that little problem at work? Or all of those tiny decisions you have to make throughout the day and that do not have a lot of consequences. Well, anytime you come across one, just for a while, just stop yourself, quiet your mind, and ask your intuition, what am I feeling called to do? What do I feel is the right thing for me to do now? What does my intuition tell me at the moment? And just listen, not for a new thought to arrive, but just for a feeling to emerge, And when you do that, many times you have to take a little risk. You have to take a little jump in the unknown and trust what's coming or the feeling that you had. And maybe sometimes it's going to tell you things that you were not expecting, or something that's going to be very different from what your mind would have told you. So this is okay. Just trust it and see what happens. See what is coming. See what is the worst thing. And you will see that sometimes your mind is going to be a little afraid because it's not used to trusting the intuition, to trusting the soul. So you just have to practice. You just have to learn how to trust and to take those little jumps. And well, when you do that for a while, after a little bit of practicing, you will see that it's very much easier to listen to yourself, to listen to your intuition when it comes to bigger decisions. Because at the end of the day, this is what is really important, right? It's having the faith that for major life decisions, we can hear the real calling. We can have the real guidance that's gonna guide us where we need to be or where we can serve or fulfill our mission. So with that, I'm inviting you to do that for the next week and just to practice it even today and see what comes, see what is happening, trust yourself, have faith, ask and surrender, have fun in your life, and of course, quiet the mind and practice. These are the tips that I've shared with you today. So these are reminders, these are tips, but you are the one who should be listening to yourself the most. If you want to see more videos on spiritual topics like this one, if you want to have guided meditations or interviews with very inspiring people, please subscribe to that channel and maybe leave in the comments below what you would want to see from me next, what subject you would want to see covered, and I would love to do that for you. You can also find me on the social media platforms. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. All of the links are going to be in the description box below. And I hope to see you again very soon. Have a great day, and I'm sending you lots of great vibes and lots of intuition.